Good Tuesday evening, everyone, and welcome to the fourth video edition of the Francast. Forecaster Francis Terezwitz here with another winter weather alert. This time it'll be for the day on Thursday into Friday morning. I'll get right into the details now of what's going to happen. Basically, we're going to have a strong storm originating from the Gulf of Mexico, which will give cities like Atlanta, Georgia, a pretty significant ice storm, along with 3 to 5 inches of snow, probably region-wide. So essentially we have a strong storm going from there with a lot of moisture. This will allow the piece of energy to phase, or the branch of the northern jet stream, a little bit of it that's sort of detached. This will allow for the formation of a full-fledged nor'easter with rain at the coast mixing to about 30 miles inland and snow even further inland. So essentially what that's going to look like is my general thinking here with this slide. So this map looks very complicated, but I tried to make it as simple as possible. The storm's not going to be set in stone really until about tomorrow afternoon, but these are my preliminary thoughts. Anywhere you see the green, you see a burst of 1 to 3 inches of snow. It'll come down heavy. It'll be a very heavy, wet consistency as well, so it'll weigh down trees, potentially breaking down some branches, to a coating of ice, which could really slicken up the morning commute. My main concern in this area is the green area, especially Cape Cod and eastern Long Island. There are the strong winds, which will allow for coastal flooding. Keep in mind we do have a full moon out, so astronomically high tides will be in effect. Gusts up to 55 miles per hour can definitely be expected, perhaps 60. Now in the pink, this area, this is like my wild card area, taking around 4 to 8 inches of snow, up to 1/4 of an inch of ice before rain, and then maybe a period of snow back behind this. Definitely power outages will be a concern in this area as well, with winds pretty strong out of the east-northeast, switching to the northwest eventually, 20 to 25 miles per hour with the occasional gusts up to 50. Definitely, if we get those kinds of winds, that will for sure exacerbate the power situation. Where we see blue, cities like just outside New York City, you've got Hartford in there, Worcester. Maybe Boston would be included in this, like Bangor, Maine, areas like that, Poughkeepsie. Snow to sleet to freezing rain. In this area, all told, 6 to 12 inches of snow, 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of ice, winds out of the northeast, switching to the northwest, 15 to 25 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 45 miles per hour. Power outage threat definitely in this area as well, but not as much as the South Shore and the eastern coast of Massachusetts, especially up into Maine. Actually, I should have highlighted that. A separate color of its own. They're going to get a blizzard up there for sure. And in purple, you get your heavier snow, especially with elevation, 10 to 15 inches in general, isolated 16 to 18 amounts. Again, you get 10 to 20 mile per hour winds, gusts to 40 miles per hour perhaps. This area definitely subject to change, and I'll show why. Here are some wind impacts if you want to get a bit more specific. Obviously along the coast, I am still forecasting these very, very powerful winds as the storm really bombs out. I'm thinking it passes right over the benchmark, which is sort of demarcated by this line right here. Some models have it scraping over Cape Cod, which would be warmer for us, but windier. Others have it further out to sea, which would be a bit cooler. Snowier, definitely. So yes, this area really should be concerned about power outages. Coastal areas to about just south of I-84. Between there, you have a 20 to 25 mile per hour wind zone, gusts as high as 45 miles per hour. And then further inland, the winds really will lax. Gusts only up to 35. But again, it's going to be a heavy, wet snow. It's going to weigh down your trees and power lines. So any winds that you do get will exacerbate any sort of power issues. The arrival time, 1 to 3 a.m. for New York City metro area, Long Island, southern Connecticut, 2 to 4 a.m. for the Hartford area, Springfield, and then 3 to 6 a.m. good morning Boston. You got snow on your front door, excuse me, and we'll take it from here with some more technical details that I have. Sort of looking at the current temperatures across the region, we see 20s to single digits, a lot of teens, and this is going to play a major part in the type of precipitation that falls. I'm not totally convinced we change it all over to rain as far north as Hartford, but I am convinced that the shoreline does change over to rain, which will really limit the amounts. However, if you see a lot of media outlets are calling for a much warmer solutions because they're hugging the model runs that are out there, except for the NAM. Now, the North American mesoscale model has been very consistent with the storm. It's correctly modeling all the precipitation that's down here. A lot of models do not have that, and it's also sort of showing better detail of these features up here in the northwest, which will be very important for the eventual track and intensity of our storm. Show you what I mean here. So this will be basically tomorrow morning. Well, this will be tomorrow morning. Tomorrow at the same time about. Definitely Atlanta getting into this catastrophic ice storm just to the south of the Atlanta metro area. We go out in time, we start to see our storm really get organized on the coast. This Wednesday night, probably around midnight, we start to see the snow enter New York City. It's snowing heavily in Philadelphia, snowing very heavily in the Washington, D.C. area, Baltimore. We really watch our storm get cranking along the coast here. I mean, this is just a classic nor'easter. A 992 millibar storm. This would be about Thursday afternoon. Heavy snow back in New England. Lighter snows. This is what's called a deformation zone. Basically a zone of not incredibly heavy snow, but heavier snow for a longer period of time, which is why I'm expecting in this area, your 10 to 15 inch amounts, maybe 18 inch amounts, if it stays cold enough. Our storm pulls out. It's very windy behind the storm, which is why I'm expecting near blizzard conditions along the main coastline. And if we change it all back to snow, perhaps eastern Connecticut could get in on that, Long Island as well. You'd be surprised in New York City. I got some a period of time with wind-driven snow. Now I'm going to show you guys the 500 millibar vorticity map, and this really tells a story here. This is looking up at about 18,000 feet in the air. See clearly our disturbance in the south here, disturbance in the north, secondary disturbance up here. Models have been having trouble with this disturbance here. Let me show you how this plays out. So we begin to get some interaction tomorrow. Systems merge. We have trough. The polar vortex is right up there. Beginning to see our systems merge. Now we see it emerge off the coast tomorrow night, and we see a very strong sign of a negatively tilted trough, which means that our storm would be somewhere in here. I like the idea of the NAM taking a bit further east of a lot of other model runs. So here we go. Our storm is definitely intensifying. This would be Friday morning. A very intense storm in the Gulf of Maine, producing heavy snow and strong winds across the entire area. Now I like the NAM for the reasons I stated. It's picking up on the moisture to the south here, and it's picking up on, as I said before, the energy up here in the Pacific Northwest. I really do like the NAM at this point. The GFS I can show you guys just quickly here. It's a longer range model to start, so it's going to have less detail into it. And, historically it's a bit more progressive and warmer with these types of storms. But even it gives the area a very potent storm. This is 982 millibars. Very strong winds, heavy snow. Here to cut the area. Not along the major cities, but definitely inland, say 30 to 50 miles, and definitely that storm is a long duration storm. Then we have to watch out for this weekend. Models beginning to advertise a snowy solution for the weekend, but let's just do one storm at a time here. And I have one final factor that could throw a monkey wrench in the warm forecast if you've seen those out here. These are current ocean temperatures and some key cities here. For example, Boston's at 31.6 degrees. That's the ocean temperature. So when we get those easterly winds to start to howl tomorrow, or not tomorrow, excuse me, Thursday, and throughout the day on Thursday, they won't really bring a lot of warm air with them. Even down here in Connecticut, 36-degree waters. New Haven, 33.8, and New London, 37.8. That can make all the difference with these snowfall totals and the ratios of snow. So, taking a quick look at our water vapor loop here for one final time, we definitely see our storm beginning to intensify, beginning to pull up some deep tropical moisture from the tropical Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico. It's looking very impressive, a bit more impressive than modeled. We see our northern stream disturbance beginning to really take off, and we'll see how these guys interact around this time to really find out how they are going to eventually work out and impact the Northeast. As always, I am your forecaster here, Francis Terrazowitz. If you guys have any questions or concerns, you can go to the Francast. It's now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You'll know that if you're watching this video. I will have updates, of course, on this storm, and the overall pattern is looking warmer after the storm, which is some good news. But for now, I hope you all have a great evening, and right now, I would definitely look at the storm and begin preparations. Bread and milk for tomorrow. All right, I'll see you all later.